Thank you, Lee. Welcome once again to the Plays the Thing. And I have a very nice playmate today, Peter Fitzgerald. How are you, Peter?
Good, Judy. Good. It's good to be here.
It took 100 horses to get you here.
Oh, you called me once a couple of years ago and the other day, and here I am.
Yes, it's so nice to have you here. I've seen a lot of you at Guildhall, which is our neighborhood theater. And how long have you been acting over there?
Well, the first one that I got involved with was Romeo and Juliet, which I guess is about 5 years ago now. And I played Lord Capulet, the king who is killed quickly early on. And then I was General Seward at the end. And then I was in Hamlet and the Scottish play that we don't speak of on any kind of stages. I was in those three, and I was in a few others. The Nerd, Jonathan Peters' production.
I saw that, The Nerd.
I played the hotelier who was a very angry fellow who had a mischievous young son. And I don't know, maybe one or two other things. Oh yes, Maritime Pirates, you know, there are a number of things.
Too many to remember.
And Naked Stage, quite a few readings and such.
The Naked Stage. Every time we bring that up, I have to tell the audience.
Oh, don't tell them. Let them come in and think.
Yes.
All right, it's only the stage that's naked. It's not the actors, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Although I keep, you know, politicking for it, but we'll see.
You have to keep on doing. You have to tell them until they do it. Otherwise, they'll never do it.
Yes, well, I think it would be an interesting way to do it.
And they had a... who's going to write the script for it?
Oh, there's all kinds of writers around, as you know.
Yes, I do know. So, but I take it this was not the first time you tried your hand at hamming it up.
Yeah, actually, it pretty much is. Back in college, well, no, I can't say that. When I was in college, I had one or two experiences. I took some directing courses. I took some acting courses. I took some writing courses at Playwrights Horizons, did some work at Kane University, and so a number of places I've picked up little tidbits. But I think I was a ham from way back when I was in the living room at home, and I would dance like a whirling dervish, you know.
You did?
Crazy. Well, I had a fairly expressive family, you know, we...
Oh, so you were encouraged to do it?
Yes, we were encouraged. As a matter of fact, there was a time when it was the Fitzgerald boys singing the Clancy Brothers kinds of songs, the Irish songs, and then we did little bits from, let's see, from Gilbert and Sullivan, and we would go on these little talent shows and things way back when. My parents loved embarrassing us that way, and we didn't know any better.
So how many brothers do you have?
I had 5 brothers and 2 sisters, and one of my brothers has passed on, my older brother. Oh. He was a really terrific, incredible piano player, and he was quite a character, too.
So he was playing the music for you while you were singing?
Some of the time. Sometimes we'd be doing it with recorded stuff. But, you know, all different iterations.
So this bug runs in your family?
Yes, it does indeed. Although many of my other siblings, while they will perform admirably and with great energy and gusto in all kinds of pubs, bars, living rooms, or any place where a drink is being served, not so much on stage.
Well, it's something that you enjoy doing, and then when you enjoy it, everybody else enjoy watching you.
I hope so.
Yeah, so where are you from, Peter?
I was born in the Bronx and grew up in Massapequa, Long Island, and I've lived in a lot of spots up and down the East Coast. I met a gal for a while. We got married. We lived in New Jersey. She was a Jersey girl, so when we got divorced, I came out here because this is where my sailboat was, and she got the state of New Jersey, and I got the other 49. That was the only part of the divorce settlement that I was, you know, victorious at. The rest, she did pretty well. But no complaints.
So how... You said you were born in
the Bronx, and I moved to Massapequa.
Yeah, the Bronx. How long were you there?
6 months or so.
Oh, you were 6 months old when you moved.
Moved out to...
So you never really got the feel of the Bronx?
Only from visiting Grandma on Sundays and going across Thunder Road up to Fordham Avenue and I think it was St. Bartholomew's Parish is how they referred to the area. Although, to be perfectly candid, I would need a map to find it again.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Well, it's, you know, there's a lot of talk with the Bronx and Brooklyn, everybody.
And Queens, they're all different.
Well, Queens is sort of more
oh, you've got a connection to Queens, don't you? Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
But there's a lot of talk. I used to visit people in the Bronx. And by myself, I lived in Brooklyn. So you went from Massapequa. You went to school in Massapequa?
I did. Carmen Road School, Our Lady of Lourdes School, and then Alfred G. Berner High School.
Oh, you moved a lot?
No, this was, I went through the whole progression there for you, from grammar school to high school, you know.
Oh, and then where you went to college, you said?
I went to college very briefly at Manhattanville College in Purchase, New York. But
I know what Purchase is.
Okay.
It's on the Thruway, right?
Yeah, it's upstate a little, just past Westchester. But, you know, I was 17 years old at the time, and frankly, as most 17-year-olds, I knew everything. So they couldn't teach me anything there, and I shortly, let's say, extricated myself from college. We don't like to say dropped out.
No, no.
So I extricated myself from there, and then went on to, you know, infamy and
greener pastures.
Yeah, so to speak, for quite some time. And it wasn't until 20 years later that I decided I didn't know as much as I did when I was 17, and I went back to college because I wanted to.
Oh, isn't that remarkable? What did you take up?
I took general liberal arts, humanities. I ended up with a master's in American literature from Seton Hall University. But after my brother that we talked about died, I took a look at my life and said things, you know, this is fairly wasted what I'm doing. I want to do something more important. At the time, I was selling office equipment in New York City, and I was making more money than I sensibly knew what to do with. So I stopped doing that and went back to school, and shortly thereafter I became a teacher, an English teacher in a Catholic high school, which my friends find no end of ironic joy in that, because I was not much of a student in high school.
Oh.
I was not an avid or particularly participatory person at the time. I cut school a lot, and I think I graduated in the bottom third of my class, and, you know, all in all, probably shouldn't be saying this if I ever plan on teaching around here again, and I hope the kids aren't watching.
Well, that doesn't matter, because you could be a good teacher.
Well,
what you know, you could give out to others and make them understand. There's nothing to do with what you did before.
Although it's hard to tell them to go home and study and, you know, hit the books if they know that you didn't. But you should remember me as a teacher in a teaching role.
Yes, the computer. You were teaching us the computer at Windmill.
Did that class at Windmill?
Yeah.
Well, while I was teaching English, specifically American literature, I had the good fortune to be able to invent an elective almost every year and teach to 11th and 12th graders. And I would take mythology, or I would take film studies. One time we did television production. We produced a news show. So every year I had a new, you know, thing that I could dig my teeth into and have fun with, and that was very enjoyable. One of the things we did eventually was create a computer lab out of donated computers, and it took a lot of time and energy to keep them running, but because we weren't a very wealthy private school at all, so that was a little interesting. But that's where I learned a lot of stuff about Windows systems, computers.
I wish I did.
Wow.
Well, things change so much that, you know, I can't keep up with the computer.
Well, if you can make it do what you need it to do, that's all you need. Just because it can do stuff that you don't want it to do, who cares?
So right now, you still teaching?
No, I haven't for some strange reason, although I have a good resume and I think I interview fairly well, and I do know that I am a very good teacher. I haven't been able to get an interview out here when any of the jobs are offered. See, I think there's a little secret, like they put the jobs in the paper, but they're really already given to somebody, but they have to do it legally. I'm not sure. But,
so you're not doing anything right now?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I do quite a few things. I am a roustabout at the boatyard. This turns into a busy season right now, getting everybody's boats ready to go in. And
what are you doing with the boats? You take people on rides?
I'm a roustabout. No, I work on the boats, do the bottoms, get them ready to go in the water, adjust the sails, do some of this stuff, help people launch them. And I do a little construction work, and I do a little computer work, and you know.
And this, that, and the other thing.
Indeed. Just like a lot of other people, you have to scrounge around to stay alive.
You mean to live in the Hamptons?
Yes, of course.
Because it's very expensive here.
Well,
Go ahead. Since you took all these courses, do you do any writing, any sort of writing?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do, and I think about writing more than I actually write, but lately I have gotten back into it. I used to do it, you know, in other times, and as I mentioned earlier at Playwrights Horizon, I was taking playwriting courses.
Well, that's what prompted me to ask you.
And as a matter of fact, another, you know, tidbit that you might be aware of is coming up on April 10th, the Naked Stage group over at Guildhall at the Booth Lamb Education Center is doing a night of scenes where I think 4 or 5 aspiring playwrights are putting together 10 or 15-minute segments of something that they're working on. And I know I'm putting something in there, and I think somebody else around here might be.
Yeah, me.
Ah, yes, that's what I thought it was. Just as I thought.
I'm working on it, and really, I'm really nervous about it, because now it really has to be, because I haven't been writing much lately.
You've been procrastinating, haven't you?
Yes, like I think about it more than doing,
yes,
like you.
Yes. Well, I can't blame you for that, can I?
Yeah.
So what is yours about?
Well, it's actually part of my life. People have been asking me to write my life story for ages and ages, and I just never found a way to tell it. So now this is going to be a different form of attempt to talk about it.
Because I remember your play from, I guess, 2 years ago or so, your musical that we did at Naked Stage.
Yeah.
Which I read, one of the fathers, I think, for your reading.
Oh, you did? That's right.
I did. I remember.
Yes.
What do you think? I forget these things, Judy?
Well, you see, it didn't turn out too well because it was a musical, and we didn't have any rehearsal, none whatsoever. And I gave everybody a tape to listen to it, and no one listened to the tape.
Oh, I listened to the tape a couple of times, but it didn't stick well enough, I guess. But we did have a 3-piece band there, so we were, you know, accompanied. We were trying to stay on the melody line. No,
well, the problem was that the lyrics was not accompanied by the notes.
Right,
because
so that was hard.
A couple of people said if I would have had it written down like a regular sheet music, they would have been able to follow it. But well, anyway,
yeah, I don't think Naked Stage is the best vehicle for a musical because we do it mostly with no rehearsal. Many of the ones that I've been involved in, we just show up about 5 o'clock, read through it once, and then the folks come in at 7:30 and we read through it again because...
So whoever watched it didn't get the full benefit of it.
I'm sure you're right about that.
Yes, but I had a lot of fun. I was hysterical laughing because of all the things that went on.
Yeah, you blasted us pretty good at the end of that about the singing. You really tore right into us. It was. Yeah. I was crushed. I was hurt.
Oh my gosh. Well, didn't I give you a Band-Aid?
You might have. A lollipop and a Band-Aid, probably.
Yes.
Speaking of music, that's another thing you can get involved in around here. Crossroads Music, the new music store over at the corner of Main and North Main, or whatever it is.
In East Hampton?
Yeah, right where, up the road from IGA, East Hampton IGA, is a new music store. And Sunday afternoons, from 1 to 3, there's an acoustic jam session, which a lot of people bring an acoustic guitar down or an acoustic bass or flute or banjo or mandolin or whatever. And a lot of us get together and sit down there and pick and pluck and sing for a couple of hours on Sundays. And Mike and Christine Clark, the proprietors of the store, have arranged this 2 evenings a month, one for kids and one for, you know, older kids, of music.
Like
and he has
us,
these,
older kids
yes,
like
older
us.
kids like us.
Yes.
So the 3rd Friday of every month at the Springs Presbyterian Church, there's a jam, and there's usually a couple of bands and a couple of acoustic acts, and it's, you know, you pay $5 to get in, which all goes to the food pantry there. So it's, you know, for a good cause. And he lets everybody use equipment from his store and they do all the technical work, which is nice, and people get up and entertain. It's a nice evening.
I have to
for
look
only
at
$5.
I have to look at that.
Third Friday of every month. It's a lot of fun.
Did you go?
Oh yes, I've been there every time, I think.
Every time? Well, you never told me about it.
Oh, Judy, come on, I can't tell you everything, you know, because then what would we talk about now? You know what I mean?
That's true. So, your other siblings, are they into acting right now?
No, not right now. Some of them try to act like adults, and that's a little tough. And some of them act like...
I never realized you had such a good sense of humor.
Well, just telling the facts, ma'am. You know,
yeah, just the facts.
Just the way it is. Well, I have one brother, my youngest brother, who he acts like the master of the universe. See, I know he'll never see this, so I can say plainly, he's afflicted with that thing where, you know, he's a rough coming, up and coming young fellow, and he's in the corporate world, and he's taken him by storm. So he acts like a master of the universe, and then, you know, others act a little more socially.
And you have some ties with the Windmill Village, don't you?
Well, my mom is a director. She's on the board of directors there. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I know Jerry and Kathy mostly. That's how I got connected with the computer classes, which was, you know, it was fun.
Yeah. And I know your mom. Mm-hmm. Her name is...
Helen Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I see her a lot. And I say, I know you. Yes, and what is it? I always ask everybody, what would you like to see here in the Hamptons as far as the arts go?
Well, one thing that I think would be interesting, I know when you know, big name people get together and they'll have all these galas and, you know, big shindigs and happenings, and there is some quality work being done sub rosa, if you will, you know, below the Klieg lights. For instance, coming up April 12th for 2 weekends, Minerva Skelza and Joe Pallister, Josh Gladstone's going to direct, are putting together a 2-person play. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now, and it'll come to me as we go along, but it's going to be put on in a church that was built about the 1800s, which is about, well, no, 1900s, I guess, about 100 and something years old. And so it's a one-room church up in Sag Harbor, so the 30 or so people who can be in the audience are going to be inside this little cabin where it takes place. And, you know, this is the kind of slightly different stuff that's pretty interesting. The naked stage work is just, you know, starting to develop a pretty good following. I know you're there frequently. But it seems to be developing a much, you know, nicer audience participation. I know I put the Irish Plays Night together, and that was pretty well received. And, you know, this last night we had one, and it was Fools, Neil Simon. Again, you know, we're packing that room, which is nice. It's nice.
Right. I was late. I didn't mean I wanted to be early, but as always, I'm late. And it was full. I thought I was going to stand all through the play. But there
luckily
was just
you got one seat in the front row.
Yeah, and Josh Gladstone looked at me and said, over there, and then I sat down, and that was the best seat in the house. Lucky. I really enjoyed that play. It was so funny. Very, very funny. I think they should really do a full production of it.
You know, when you go from the naked stage readings, which we put together, you know, relatively quickly. We make a handful of copies, you select a play, and it's just a reading, so you're not paying rights. I hope we don't have to pay rights for those because we haven't been. But you contact a couple of other actors, and it can be a fun night of theater. It's no, you know, you don't go crazy with sets, you don't go crazy with costumes. I think the less you try to direct it, the better off you are. And just make it a reading and let the words speak. And, you know, it's a great night of free theater. I know the actors put their energy as much as you can into the readings.
Oh, they did a wonderful job. They really liked it. The energy that was there, it was really remarkable.
It was a big cast, too. There was like 10 of us.
Yeah, but you were all good.
Oh, shucks, Judy. You know you're right, though. You really, no.
You were all good. And is there any one particular person you like to perform with, or?
Oh, I just like when I'm included, you know.
You like
everybody.
It when you...
Yeah, when I'm included, you know.
Well, I'm going to have to write a play, so you should be the star. Would you like that?
Oh, that'd be wonderful. But I don't know if I could play you.
Play me.
Well, if it's a story about your life, I don't know if I could play you.
No. Well, no, not in this play. Not in this. I said I'm going to write another one that will suit you.
Well, I just wrote one, and it's a one-act play, and it's a kind of quick, but I think it's, you know, it's decent. It needs a little tweaking, but we're going to try to read that, as much of it as we can in the time allotted on
April
10th.
I know, April 10th. So how can you decide which 10 minutes?
I was going to start at the beginning and go 10 minutes and wait for the clamoring of the audience to insist that we finish it, which, you know.
Yes.
Speaking with Josh Pearl, who, you know, is the titular head of the Naked Stage arrangement, he didn't like that idea. He didn't think that was a good idea for me to do. So what I'm thinking of doing is reading the play backwards with the timer on my oven on, set for 15 minutes, and see where I get to, and then just explain very briefly what happened up until that moment.
Oh, yeah.
So that we'll have 15 minutes till the end. But I don't know, in a one-act play, it's so compressed anyway. It's like a poem almost, more than a, you know, full-length play, that there's not a lot you can take out, because as you're revealing things, you know, you've only got, the whole thing is probably only 22 minutes if it's performed.
Oh, really? That's all?
It's a one-act play. It's relatively short. It's, you know, I'm not trying to do a saga and epic about the whole truth and reality of the United States, but, you know, just take a little slice of life.
What is this about?
Well, it's about some guys who are going to play softball. But it's not about that at all. That's what they're talking about, but it's really not about that. It's about one guy who has suffered a loss in his life and how he's dealing with it, and he's not doing very well. And his friends are all aware of it. He's like the last one to catch. No, he really knows too, but he's the last one to admit it. And they're all trying to draw him back to, you know, some semblance of normalcy. And you know how men are, they never talk about feelings and stuff, so they have to talk about other things. They have to, you know, push in other ways. It sort of explores that kind of idea.
Oh, I can't wait to see it, hear it.
You'll have to wait till April 10th, because
I know.
That's when I'll be able to do it.
I don't know if I could wait. How many days is that?
If we can get 4 guys in here, we can read it, and I can get a little, you know, advanced notice of how I should change it or fix it or whatever.
I hope that they made a big splash about this and told all the media, so they'll come.
Well, we do get a little bit of press here and there. I know Channel 12 was at the church that I was talking about recently, so like very frequently Plum is good enough to, you know, look at some of the local stuff that's going on, but this was Channel 12. They got up there filming inside the church and interviewing the proprietess and the actors. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, Channel 12.
And of course we'll be waiting till we get Guildhall back, the John Drew Theater, because it being under renovation, and now, you know, we're stuck without a theater to work in.
Yeah, but what they have right now is good for the Naked Stage, but for full production they will have to hire a hall.
Well, you know what else I got involved in that I think is very interesting, that I wish more people would also, you know, they may not hear about it as much, is the community theater, the new Springs Community Theater that has reemerged through the auspices of Janie Friedman and Barbara Mattson, I think are the 2 prime movers.
I met the 2 ladies, yes.
Have you had them on the show?
No, they didn't want to come. I had when they put on South Pacific, I had 2 actors.
Okay. I was in the one they did before that, Once Upon a Mattress. I played King Sextimus. He's a horny little devil, is frankly what he is.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he was. Chasing women around all the time. It was a real stretch for me, Judy.
Yeah. So I wish there used to be another theater company. Somebody told me, who I interviewed last time, that I think it was Dan, that doctor? He said there was a...
Dan Blocker, I think is his name, isn't it?
Something like that. Doctor, yeah.
Doctor, yeah. Or am I thinking of the guy on the Cartwrights, Bonanza? Never mind. Never mind.
Well, anyway, he said there used to be another theater here that was...
Well, I think that's the group that's now out in Quogue, the Hamptons Theater Company. But it was called Community Theater Company, CTC. and I think Sarah Honeywell and
Oh yeah, their
James.
productions are really good. Do you ever go out there?
I have one time. I need to go other times. I need to go. I want to see this one too, because my buddy Edward Cassar is in this new one, among other people. But he and I were together.
There's a lot of good talent out here. A lot of good. So we don't even have to go to Broadway.
No, but that's nice too.
Nice too.
That's nice too.
Well, Guildhall, and then we have Bay Street, and if you want to go a little further, we have the
West Hampton.
West Hampton and Quogue.
Quogue. And you can go a little further to the Belport Theater.
Well, I know that's too far for me.
Oh, poor Judy.
I can't walk that far.
No, I wouldn't recommend that. You'd be walking for a few days.
So you are fancy-free right now, so all you do is work, and a little fun. You have...
Oh, I try to squeeze in a little fun every day, Judy. I find it's very good for my constitution, because I get to be very, very cranky if I'm not having any fun.
Really?
Yes, you can ask Susan Brown, my partner in life. She finds me
Susan Brown, I don't know her.
You've seen her a couple times, I
Yeah,
think.
probably. She's the one who's sitting next to you.
Yes, very frequently. Blonde hair.
Keeping
me in check, yes, keeping me in line, keeping me out of jail, frankly.
Peter, I would ask you a lot more questions, but we ran out of time.
My goodness.
Yes.
How did that happen?
And thanks, oh my gosh, now we have to say goodbye to everybody. Go away.
Goodbye, everybody.
You have to wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Goodbye, goodbye.
Ta-ta.
And you could see us.
We still have 40 seconds. When are we going to be able to see us?
Next week. We are on 4 times a week here at the East End. And then a little further west twice, and in Manhattan once a week.
Well, you shouldn't be bad-mouthing Manhattan then, if you're on in there.
I didn't badmouth.
You said you wouldn't go.
You mean Broadway?
Yes.
Oh,
well, that's in Manhattan, Judy.
Well, in bed, I just don't like to go to